Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into the vibrant world of Atlanta printmaking. Meet two trailblazers, Jamaal Barber, an imaginative storyteller using woodcut and screen print to explore Black identity, and Traci Mims, an equally compelling printmaker and mixed media artist, forging her own path. Let's press into their process, inspiration, and impact. Jamaal Barber, a Virginia born, North Carolina raised artist, discovered printmaking serendipitously after witnessing a screen printing demo in 2013. Captivated, he transformed his closet into a mini print studio, burning screens with a 300-watt bulb. Since earning his MFA in printmaking at Georgia State University, Barber's bold woodcuts and mixed media prints have made waves from local exhibitions at the Decatur Art Festival and the Atlanta Print Biennial to commissions for the New York Times and Penguin Random House. As an educator and communicator, he shares his craft on Studio Noise, a podcast that amplifies Black creative voices and the printmaking process. Jamaal calls his work Black propaganda, which I love, right? Because it's like he's appropriating the term. Because the way he's using it is not for negativity, right? It's to celebrate Black power, Black love, Black joy, Black connection. And his work really invites us, into these layered narratives that reflect family legacy, Afrofuturism, Black history, our collective memory, our cultural practices, right? So we see things that we recognize. And I really love Jamaal's work because he has this incredible way of making flat surface feel alive, right? And almost sculptural. Like you can reach out and touch the surface or the depth, right? Like you can almost reach into, right, his 2D works. And feel this very tangible sense of a 3D aesthetic, right, or 3D visual language. His practice then moves very seamlessly from woodcuts and screen prints to paintings and his actual metal sculpture. So no matter the medium, there's always this strong sense of form and presence that pulls you in. His use of color is particularly stunning, right? It's bold, but it's intentional, which adds so much energy and rhythm to the work, right, that it practically vibrates. And every time I see one of his pieces, I feel like I'm stepping into like a whole new dimension. Like I'm looking around my living room right now to see like how much wall space I have, right? To acquire a piece. Because before doing these videos, for Najee and Sateria at Baya, I was unfamiliar with both Jamaal and Traci's work. And so this is why I think organizations like Baya are so key and so important, for us to maintain, right, our cultural connections. But also if you're interested in art, I tell people all the time, some of the, I shouldn't say some of, one of the easiest ways, to start collecting is by collecting prints. With that in mind, we now segue to Traci Mims, who is also a printmaker and mixed media artist and educator based in Atlanta. Traci is originally from St. Petersburg, Florida, but she holds a BA from Florida A&M and an MFA in printmaking from Temple University's Tyler School of Art. Mims gravitates towards woodblock and reduction prints, drawn to the tactile, natural textures of wood that give her work the visceral and grounded presence that is so strong. Her art centers Black identity with a particular focus on Black women's experiences, framed through cultural allegory and social realism. She often uses self portraiture to explore collective narratives of history, representation, and resilience. Her artistic lineage includes social justice driven aesthetic traditions and figures like Elizabeth Catlett, whose works fuse printmaking and cultural advocacy. Mims incorporates her early architectural training into her printmaking, which results in this meticulous, process oriented, and structurally thoughtful compositions, right? Her work spans, beyond prints to include mixed media works, drawings, collage, paintings, and textiles. Even some quilt inspired elements that reflect both this formal dexterity and this layered storytelling, right? So she too has this dimensionality, to her work, that is really powerful. She refuses to sanitize her work, stating, quote, "I'm going to make it regardless of how people feel about the grittiness of it." Um, she states, "Why would I sanitize my work?" End quote, which demonstrates her bold commitment to both truth telling and artistic sovereignty, which I think is really important, because I think so many people, whether it's collectors or galleries or the market, right, can really put that pressure on artists, to make, what people want to see, and not what's really, unique and specific and important, to the artist, his or herself. Critics often describe her style as this intimate, soulful, and immediately engaging, recalling the modern stance, akin to Elizabeth Catlett, and its attention to presence, body, and cultural memory. So again, it's like, I'm looking around my house like, ooh, these are two artists, whose works are, again, so powerful, so important to the culture. And if you are in the Atlanta area, please go to Black Art in America, and inquire, about acquisition, um, or or I should say, and or um, just go and take it in. Sometimes you can just, stand in front of a work, and really sense the power, that artists like, Jamaal and Traci, put into their work. So until next time, I will see you soon.